businesses of all sizes and sectors must understand how to harness the potential of technology to remain competitive, whether it's utilizing data analytics, artificial intelligence, leveraging cloud computing and automation, embracing digital marketing and e-commerce. Businesses must lean into technology to stay relevant and be competitive. Today, I am so excited to be talking to you, Maneesh, expert, a
Here one.
guru, and in IT technology, and sharing some of your wisdom and your nuggets of interest in the IT technology field.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be talking to you. So, I'm sure we'll have a wonderful conversation together.
Yes, and I'm intrigued. I'm always intrigued by my conversations with you. I learn a lot because I think we only can learn through conversations when it comes to IT, and become the more educated in a way we become, the more we'll be able to understand it and use it, right? So
100%.
let me start off. I did a little bit of research before our conversation today, and I continue to do it because I need to stay relevant in understanding technology. And just knowing that the birth of artificial intelligence was around 1950s, right? Coined in its popular use by Alan Turing's published work. I love the movie Imitation Games in his published works of computer, machinery, and intelligence. But it's now almost 70 years later. Where are we?
Okay. Now, it has gone through several cycles. So there was take up, there was drop, and
Mm,
then there was take up again. So the last iteration was with things like genetic algorithms, neural networks coming to the fray, and a lot of interest was there, but
mm,
it didn't pass the litmus test, and therefore again the interest started dying down. But in the background there were some
mm,
people who didn't lose the faith.
mhm,
And now when we see what's happening, it's come to the forefront. It's the most disruptive technology of this decade for sure.
mhm.
And with two giants, Google and Microsoft, pushing each other to try and see who wins the race, with one party's existence completely being dependent, that is Google. If they lose this race, they will just be wiped out.
Yeah.
So Google needs to win this race for sure, and Microsoft is giving it everything to make sure that they are a big player in this space. So the race is on, and every almost 6 months to 12 months we will have a new update that will be available to us to see how things improve from pure text to audios to images to videos, and
Wow.
we do not know where it's this race is going to take us, but we will all be beneficiaries of the race that's going on. So yeah, I mean, very exciting times. We're waiting and watching and experiencing what's going on, but things are going to change drastically in the next 12 months for sure.
And not as if it hasn't changed so drastically, right? In the last
Absolutely.
12 months of the year. So what I'm hearing you saying that if it's going to change drastically, it means that this disruption is going to just continue. I want to
Absolutely.
just explore one word you used, a phrase, did not pass the litmus test then. What does it
Yeah.
mean?
So neural networks and genetic algorithms was supposed to reduce the human effort in doing a lot of work,
Mm-hmm,
and all that it became was uh, something that can use existing intelligence
mm-hmm,
and give non-complete answers. And the core reason for that was enough information wasn't available to the device
okay,
that was doing the calculation, and spitting out results.
Mhm.
So for instance, right now, see, the internet has changed the whole world in several ways. Okay, and the telco space kept increasing the speed at which information was shared. Now, once
Mm.
information across the globe can be available into a single box very easily, getting the data from all over to feed an engine has become exceptionally easy.
Mhm.
And because of this availability of information, the artificial intelligence bots or engines are able to perform much better than they performed in the previous generation, where the method of doing things was practically the same. I mean,
Mhm.
not exactly, but a lot has been built on top of that.
Mhm.
But the data was not available at all to be able to do the tasks that these bots were being asked to do. With that available now, so everything has become very, very easy,
Mhm.
and a lot more can be done in the space.
Yeah, and I could not agree with you more. It must have become very easy because every single um, app you have, or every single organization, whether it's in South Africa, Discovery, or you're dealing with ESCOM, for example, even a government institution, or you're dealing with telecommunications or fiber networks, it's all the conversations and all the engagements are via your chatbot, right? So
Absolutely.
it's become the name of the game and it's become very present. But that being said, we know, and you mentioned the internet users and the high rate of internet users. I mean, I'm always taken aback to see the statistics. More than 74% of people have internet access in South Africa against a global average of 66%, higher than a global average, right? How would
Absolutely.
you describe the leaning into technology in a South African context?
Yeah. We are a huge consumer and a very quick learner.
Hmm.
So
Sorry, huge consumer and quick learner. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we are getting into the innovation space.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of startups that are making headway, uh, uh, both in financial services, robotics, education, pure services.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Everything is happening, even in healthcare, with so many things happening. So we are slowly beginning to use these services to build products and develop tools that will be big players in the long run. So the question is, uh, how do we supercharge this?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, step one is uh, democratize information, and that bit has already happened across the globe. If you want to learn something, the information is available.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second part is improve reach. So it should be able to get to people in all corners of the country. 74% is such a beautiful number. It's
Yes.
huge. Everyone has access, everyone has devices that they can use,
Mm-hmm.
and they are looking at how the world is changing. We were kept aloof for a very long time, but
Mm-hmm.
now it's happening in front of us, and we are looking at it and learning from it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
No, no, no.
so
Carry on. Carry on.
so that's the second aspect that's looking great.
Mm-hmm.
And now uh, there's some bits of nudges that need to be given in the right direction. to be a part of this global change in terms of entrepreneurship that's happening,
Mhm.
and that's what we have to look forward to.
And I just love what you said, right? It's a beautiful number, and so much is happening in South Africa. But yet, there is still a perception that we are slow and we are behind in terms of technological advancements and acceptance in the business world. If that is so, um, are we afraid? And why would we be afraid?
Yeah, so these are to some extent pure perceptions.
Mm,
You know, we are in the game and we are doing well. So the question is, how can we supercharge it? You know, like for instance, a country like the USA, you
mhm,
know, they move a lot faster than the rest of the world because what they do is they have set up a network of educational institutes that call themselves the best in the world, and they attract the best talent from all over the world. And when they come together, the speed of innovation will be much faster than the rest of the world, for sure.
mm,
So, in other cases, when you have density of population,
yeah.
then the percentages of people who are grabbing these opportunities will be higher.
Mhm,
Therefore, there are certain countries which will be doing much better, or doing innovating a lot more than we do. But
mm,
we have a fair share of innovation as compared to the population density that we have in our country, and we are very gifted in the sense that we have all the infrastructure that can enable innovation.
mm, yeah.
Sometimes we might be lacking in the financial muscle, some support structures that can be tweaked within the institutions, both public and private,
Mhm,
that can improve things. And we will see a lot of entrepreneurs, coming to the fray, doing a lot of life-changing work, but that's the only aspects that are missing. But
mm,
in terms of being able to grasp the technology and use it, we are almost there. We need to make those subtle changes to move forward quickly.
yeah. And you're so on point, Manish. I mean, as you're talking, and I'm starting to reflect in our own world, right? The word is supercharge.
Ye-
That's definitely it, because we have all of the things that work for us. And yes, maybe it is the financial muscle that is the gap. But I want to just share with you, in terms of some of my conversations I've had, and my own experience, my own experience. We talk about, is it the words, firstly, that make us feel overwhelmed? So let me give you an example. All the words being thrown around are big data, predictive analytics, virtual reality, blockchain. You hear these words all the time. And just the word artificial intelligence, if you don't understand how it is applied and what actually artificial intelligence means, then that word in itself can be feeling like it's quite involved and intricate and overwhelming, which it is, but
Absolutely.
overwhelms you if you don't understand the detail. That's the sense I have. And you mentioned earlier on, we need to get the greater sense of awareness and education out there. You use the term, I think, democratization of the information, and it is there. It's accessible, it's available. But how do we then bridge this gap between, the access to the information, which I believe, in my own view, may be lacking, and perhaps it's the education around it that makes us more fearful. How do we bridge the gap, and what advice would you then give to leaders and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so all the information is available, okay, and if there is someone who's looking for a piece of information to uh, unlock or solve a problem, they the information is definitely available and it's out there,
Yeah.
and we have access to the information. There needs to be some advice that needs to be given to entrepreneurs on how to get to this piece of information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically the way globally these puzzles are being solved is firstly telling yourself
Mm.
and your friends that it's simple, it's
Yeah.
not very difficult, okay. Indulge freely in trying to understand the information, and it will get solved easily, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So firstly remove that fear from the mind, that it's so complicated that we cannot do something like this.
Mm.
For instance, if you talk about blockchain, Luna
Yeah.
solved it. It's a local startup that built an exchange where we can transact on cryptocurrency and do anything we want to.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about any piece of information, I mean any of those complicated terms, I can name a startup to you that's born locally and have solved it, and they're doing exceptionally well in from robotics to drone technology to everything that you can think of. We have at least one representative that has solved it. Now the question is, do we have a network where
Mm.
we share information freely? Now a lot of people used to think that sharing information should not be done because it will
Mm.
make you less competitive.
Mm.
But the answer is, the more you or share with each other as a network, you grow and everybody becomes better, and you
Mm-hmm.
create a platform where further innovation can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to set up. So as a community, we have to say we can solve this, and then work together, build these networks, and solve problems in technology, help each other to grow, and then build those platforms that will
Mm.
take us to the next level. So that's the aspect that might be missing right now.
Yeah, and you're absolutely on point, and perhaps that's why we're talking today, right? We're talking today because for me, what's important is to share this information and to
Absolutely.
find channels and methods to get this message out there. That don't be afraid, learn about it, share it, and build your businesses around becoming more technologically savvy. The question I have for you, you've said earlier on that there's an example of there's a startup for every single element. For example, artificial intelligence. You think about it, it feels it's quite sophisticated, and how do we do it, and how do we get in there, and how does it work? Maybe explain that. Explain that to me, the layman. What is artificial intelligence, and give us an example of a South African startup that uses it and uses it well.
Okay, so let's uh, break it down into, you know, the buzzword that has come to the fray right now.
Mm,
So that's Chat GPT.
yes.
Okay,
Mm,
now you can ask it any question and it will answer it for you. Now, how do you get there? Uh, for instance, when let's say uh, when Google Bard was being introduced,
mm,
this guy ended up in a city, and he pointed his phone outside the window and said, "Where am I?"
Mm.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
the image was good enough to answer the question. But what we could not understand from that was that, look, there's a SIM card in that phone,
Mm.
and Google has built the GPS system. Yeah. So everything that you can think of has been solved in terms of coordinates by Google.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask Google's Chat GPT, "Where am I?" that Chat GPT doesn't need to look outside and say, "Where are you?" It just
Mm.
has to use the SIM card and say, "You are here. I know it for sure." You know, so
Yeah.
basically that's how things work.
Mm.
You have information coming from various locations.
Mm.
Okay, and it's present in either Google's searches available, or any form of data aggregation engine searches available. And it there are algos which correct the accuracy of the answer based on how many people have found this information accurate and how many
Mm.
people have found it less accurate.
Mhm.
And on that basis it keeps improving things. Now, as you go in more detail, the accuracy reduces right now, but as you stay generic, the accuracy is high because the amount of data available is higher at a macro level
Mhm.
and lower at a micro level. So
Okay.
basically it teaches the algorithm what is right and
Mm.
what people have found more accurate, and
Mhm.
then publishes it to you. Yeah. And that's how things keep happening right now. So basically, from let's say something as simple as, I want to write a contract for a South African service to have two parties
Mm.
agree on one particular SLA, you know,
Mm.
and you publish that, you will get the answer immediately. But that's based on the engine pulling South African law, pulling generally accepted terms, and giving you a framework using which you can publish something that can be used immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm.
that's what we are calling artificial intelligence, which to a large extent is, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what is going out there and getting things done.
Mm.
Yeah,
You know, I can sit, I think, for days and listen to you educate me because it's so exciting and it's so interesting. And one of the things as you started to speak about artificial intelligence, I'm thinking about the biggest nightmare, or the one thing that keeps leaders and businesses up at night. It's wanting to do more with less and
hmm,
do it faster,
yeah,
because the world is evolving, right? And everything is about your customer. Your customer is becoming a lot more responsive in terms of what they need. It's not about what you're offering me, it's about what I need. And more importantly, how fast I need it. Before,
absolutely,
a week is good, but now I actually need it overnight. So satisfy me, and your business is solving a problem for the customer, because their needs have escalated, needs have changed, the habits of your consumer have changed, which then means, as businesses, as leaders, we need to do things quicker, faster, innovatively, and different, right? So
absolutely,
what you're sharing with me through this example is where it would take someone a day or hours to do something, they could do it faster using having access to artificial intelligence like that, do it faster and do it in an hour. So it's
absolutely,
actually helping with productivity, efficiency, and the opportunity to do more with less. That's what I'm hearing.
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
and that's what businesses need. So maybe my question then, Manish, and I think there is that, and you mentioned financial muscle. There is that perception, or not necessarily perception, or concern that it takes financial investment to start getting their businesses working efficiently through apps and AI, and using all of the big data. What guidance and advice would you give to entrepreneurs in the SME sector?
Yeah. So firstly, you know, what I used to learn from was lives of people.
Mm,
Okay. And very, very tough lives that people had, but they never gave up.
mm,
Yeah. And
mhm,
and as an entrepreneur, you have to be prepared for it. Yeah, it's not a cushy journey. You have to get things done, and you have to keep being relentless,
mm,
keep at it, and at some point of time, uh, all of a sudden things will start, fitting into place, and one day things start to get easier, and the journey becomes smooth. But the
mm.
question is, never give up.
Yeah.
Keep looking for the right answers. It I mean, we thankfully live in a place where everyone is willing to help. You know,
Mm,
if outside South Africa, if you travel to places, you'll realize that help is very, very difficult to come by.
yeah.
But here, everyone is willing to help. You should have that network and people to ask the right questions.
Mm,
There are investors, but they also have a magnitude, a bunch of interests in mind. So they look at how much what is the possibility of the success of the entrepreneur,
mm,
how committed are they, uh, what level is the product development
yeah.
at, you know. so
Mm,
so once they see all those things in place, and there is a level of control that they can exercise on the entrepreneur, in the sense that if you keep saying that I will do whatever I please, and not go according uh, to the guidance of somebody who's been in the field a lot longer, and understands how uh, assets and money needs to be utilized,
mm,
then there are problems. But as long as in your first venture you're willing to put the effort, are absolutely humble in terms of learning, and
yeah.
and 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 you know
Mm,
uh, agreeing to change direction based on what will make the most practical sense, then you will get there ultimately.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's what is needed. Be there, survive, keep pushing on, and keep learning,
Mm. And
and you get there.
yeah, and thanks, Manish. I mean, so profound from an entrepreneur yourself and your journey, and of course, you've had global experience and coming into South Africa. Uh, the most important thing I'm taking away from your advice is that we are a community,
Yeah,
and use your community and networks, because in South Africa, people are willing to help. People are willing to
absolutely.
work with you. People are willing to partner with you. So use your networks, use your community of people, like how you and I collaborate all the time,
Absolutely.
and it's amazing. We create beautiful magic and products and services together, and that for me is so important. But over and above that, you're saying be resilient no matter what. Don't give up on your dream.
Exactly.
Focus on what you need to do, and get out there to get funding, to get investment, and be creative in terms of how you can invest in your business for growth, to become more technologically efficient for tomorrow. My last word on this is the next 12 months. That's what I'm taking away from you. There's a hot race between Google and Microsoft, and there's startups all over the world that's making that race, that's accelerating that race, accelerating that race of change. So us as entrepreneurs and as business leaders cannot sit back and wait. We have to get it involved, get educated, become more aware, and start doing what is right, to lean into the new world of work and the new way of doing things from a technological perspective.
Absolutely,
Agree?
absolutely. Stay very, very close to what's happening
Mm.
and exploit every bit of innovation that's happening to make our lives easier.
Thanks, Manesh. Always, I love chatting to you. And this is
Same
not
here,
the end,
Gauri.
but an absolute beginning in terms of educating our community, sharing the information, sharing those nuggets of brilliant wisdom that you've shared with me today. We'll definitely continue to do it. Thank you very much.
100%. Thank you so much.